tonight, watching for white smoke as the papal conclave begins.
Wherever they need me, just trying to be that player.
Rider Rookie Camp kicks off in Saskatoon with some local talent turning heads. And we introduce you to an up-and-coming tennis star.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, May 7th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. Black smoke has emerged from the Sistine Chapel chimney. It signals no pope has been elected in the first vote by the cardinals at the papal conclave. 133 cardinals will remain sequestered until a successor to Pope Francis is chosen. Juanita Taylor reports from Vatican City.
Well, black smoke billowed out at about 9 p.m. local time here at the Vatican, and people had been waiting all day for this moment. People were saying that they were feeling curious and intrigued, yet they were patient for that moment.
I've never waited 2 hours to look at some smoke, but that was worth it.
I just think it's really lovely. I love the sense of community the church kind of brings together, and I can really appreciate that even as someone who's not Catholic.
The challenges in this conclave are many. One Vatican observer said that this conclave could prove to be unpredictable, especially with 133 voting cardinals. Many of them know fewer than a dozen, so they'll need time to get to know each other, but more importantly, to assess the front runners. Now, Pope Francis didn't have many gatherings of cardinals, so there were fewer occasions for them to meet compared to a previous pope, so they are largely strangers, and especially those who come from the peripheries. Now, geopolitics is likely to weigh more heavily in this conclave than in those past. Ongoing wars in Ukraine and Gaza, the continuation of Francis's outreach to the Muslim world, and mounting concerns over the current administration in the United States. Now, how long will it be until a new pope is elected? Well, that's anybody's best guess. We know that it takes about, on average, 5 to 6 rounds of voting, and only the first round has been done today. The second round will continue in the morning. And just given the size and shape of this College of Cardinals, any outcome is still possible as they get to work choosing their next leader of the Catholic Church. Juanita Taylor, CBC News, Vatican.
And CBC Radio's Blue Sky was focused on the papal conclave on Wednesday. Host Sam McCagg was joined by members of the Catholic Church and other experts. They gave their thoughts on the next pope and what he needs to bring to the role.
First of all, I should point out, just as a historical matter, that they don't have to choose a cardinal, right? So in theory, they can choose any baptized man. So any of the three of us on this panel might get a call in a few minutes, and then maybe that's why there hasn't been any smoke yet, because they have to actually get the agreement of whoever they elect. But obviously that's incredibly unlikely. I mean, I think that it's always hard, and there's a famous saying that the person who enters a pope leaves a cardinal, that oftentimes it's the top contenders, the people who are perceived as being most likely, who are not elected. And one of the reasons that happens is that people tend to have a ceiling of votes, I guess. We understand from past conclaves that sometimes somebody got the most votes on the first vote, but then that was all the votes they were ever going to get, right? So then eventually people move on, right? They're like, this isn't going to happen.
I think you need to take one step back, because I think the last 10 days, 2 weeks have been very important. What they've been doing is having discussions about what the world needs right now, what the church needs right now, and what kind of leadership, and where's the Holy Spirit leading us? What is God asking of us at this time? And that's a really important part of the discernment.
I hope that we get a pope who can continue the organic nature of the church as it's been set out by his predecessors. Each of those popes has had strengths, and they've brought that into the work of the pope, and they've made it real, and we've been the recipients of that hard work in a good way.
Mercy, dialogue, a pope who brings strong moral force for the common good for the world and brings unity to the church at the same time. Big task.
The Saskatchewan NDP has introduced a new bill that would raise the threshold for citizen petitions around the province separating from Canada, and it would bar the ability of the Premier or Cabinet to call a separation referendum for good. It would currently take a separation petition 125,000 signatures for a referendum to be called. This bill would roughly double that number. A petition that is currently going around in the province has gathered about 3,000 signatures.
I think so. I think this is about not leaving things to chance and about showing some leadership in that respect. You see Danielle Smith in Alberta trying to make it easier. We want to make it harder.
Smith's government has introduced legislation that, if passed, would lower the threshold to trigger a referendum in Alberta. The NDP's bill passed its first reading in the legislature Wednesday. It will be given a second reading on Thursday. And the opposition NDP says a rural francophone school has fallen into disrepair and is unsafe. École Boreale in Pontex offers K-12 French education to the town and nearby communities, but the NDP critic for Francophone Affairs says the building is not meeting the needs of students and staff.
Can't get extra portables, so they've had to cut portables in half. They do not have a science laboratory despite going over grade 8. And many of the other amenities that you would reasonably expect for a school, including an actual library as opposed to just books thrown into a room haphazard, they're just not there.
Students have been leaving to attend the English school in the community as a result of the building's condition. The community is asking that a quality Francophone school be built in Pontex. The NDP is calling on the government to visit and see the school firsthand. Education Minister Everett Hindley said he himself has not been to the school but would be happy to visit. New and expecting parents in Saskatchewan who are struggling with their mental health now have a free resource to turn to. A program with therapist supports is now being offered through the University of Regina. The well-being course for new parents and expecting parents is part of an expansion of internet-delivered cognitive behavior therapy. The online format makes it easier for people in rural and remote areas to access mental health supports. It's designed for parents who may be struggling with anxiety or depression during and after pregnancy. Organizers say the response has been overwhelmingly positive since the program began in February.
Parents sharing that it's helping sort of manage stress, it's helping manage their thoughts around parenting and interactions, also improving communication with their partners, and then just making these small adjustments to behaviors is also important. Oh, and then just managing physical symptoms that come along with depression and anxiety.
The province has spent $380,000 on the new course. The Ministry of Health is also working with the Saskatchewan Health Authority to establish a position for a maternal mental health coordinator at Healthline 811. Saskatoon is moving to break with the rest of the province on home energy efficiency regulations. A city council committee has voted in favor of a plan to reinstate stricter energy building codes. This follows the province's decision earlier this year to roll back some energy efficiency regulations. The province hopes that leads to lower costs and more construction. But a city report had recommended Saskatoon go its own way and regulate new homes and smaller buildings with higher standards.
I'm happy to support the recommendation. I have no interest in rolling it back. I'm glad that we'll be aligned with our low emissions community plan, and foundationally, this will make it less expensive for homeowners.
Saskatoon City Council will make a final decision at a future meeting. The city report says Regina is also considering reinstating the higher standards. Firefighters in Saskatoon were busy Wednesday morning battling a blaze at a plastics manufacturing facility. Crews were called shortly after 5 a.m. to WD Plastics in the Hudson Bay industrial area. Almost the entire inside of the building, which is filled with plastic materials, was engulfed in flames. 6 engines and 2 ladder trucks were called in, as well as more than 30 firefighters.
Initial crews arrived on scene. They had heavy fire and smoke coming from the west side of the building. They were unable to make entry. They tried to do an exterior attack. Unfortunately, it looks like the fire had spread through quite a bit of the building. The building is a plastics manufacturing plant. It houses a lot of resins, a lot of plastic sheets, a lot of plastic material. Unfortunately, when they started going, it pretty much engulfed the whole inside of the building.
No one was in the building when the fire broke out. The cause is under investigation. Well, this weather has been perfect for getting out for a walk, and Wascana Trails near Regina is a nice location to get out and about. Now, things may still look a little bit brown out there for now, but we will soon add some color as spring continues on. These days, though, we're feeling more like summer, and weather specialist Helena Mahalik will tell us if this heat is continuing after the break. Stay with us. The Saskatchewan Roughriders rookie camp has kicked off in Saskatoon just ahead of the main training camp next week. And there is some homegrown talent hoping to make an impression. Scott Larson has more.
Daniel Wiebe says he's been watching the Riders for years. A receiver for the University of Saskatchewan Huskies, he says he's an adaptable player.
Yeah, I think just being able to really soak everything in, be as, wherever they need me, just trying to be that player and, yeah, just fill whatever role they need me to fill and just keep getting better every single day. I think that's really the big thing, and just really hone in on that playbook, knowing every position well, and yeah, I think that's a good start.
Wiebe's Husky teammate linebacker Seth Hundeby is also in camp. Hundeby was selected in the 4th round of last week's CFL draft. He's committed to return to the U of S for one more year, but is trying to soak up as much knowledge as possible during his time at training camp.
Even talking to some older guys, they just be a sponge, anything anyone says, take it in and then kind of incorporate it in wherever you feel like you can. So definitely an opportunity to get better. It's really cool to be a part of the team, because eventually, obviously, if the opportunity is there, I'd love to play and be a Rider. So yeah, I just taking it for what it is, super awesome experience, and yeah, just having fun.
Riders head coach Corey Mace says Hundeby and Wiebe both made an impression on their first day.
He's one of the most vocal guys already, and he's only had a day and a half in the playbook, and he's out there commanding. So that's awesome to see. Obviously, his size and his speed as well, but that was really good to see. And he's working on his long snap and another tool in his tool belt. And then with Daniel, certainly it showed up even in the special teams drills. He's going to return a kick, and guys are trying to make sure he doesn't get outside, and quickly you find out how quick and how fast he is.
2 Saskatoon Hilltops have also been invited to camp. Defensive lineman Jonathan Stevens and defensive back Dalton Urban. Rookie camp runs Thursday and Friday morning from 9 until noon at Griffith Stadium. The Riders' main camp begins on Sunday. Scott Larson, CBC News, Saskatoon.
And in other CFL news, Winnipeg Blue Bombers quarterback Zach Collaros has been suspended for 1 game. This comes after he failed to respond to an off-season drug testing request. The CFL says Collaros has never tested positive for a performance-enhancing drug under the league's drug policy.
With the first overall pick of the Western Hockey League 2025 Prospects Draft, the Regina Pats select Maddox Schultz from the Regina Pat Canadiens.
And there it is, the worst kept secret in the WHL, as the Regina Pats select 15-year-old Maddox Schultz, first overall in the Western Hockey League Bantam Draft. Our Dan Plaster is there, and he will have full reaction from the #1 pick and the team on Thursday. Well, from one young hockey star to an up-and-coming tennis sensation. At just 13, Isabella Ruyu-Yen is making a name for herself in the Saskatchewan tennis community, and she's got national titles to prove her skill.
I love tennis because of all the friends I can make and being famous. My name is Isabella Ruyu-Yen. I like the feeling of just rallying and hitting through your shot. It just feels very free when you hit it.
We've been on this tennis journey for longest I can remember, 6-7 years now. She's wonderful. She's adorable. It's my little sweetheart. When she's starting, there's no stop. every single time she see the ball coming to her, she want to hit it hard.
From the start, my first nationals, my parents didn't think anything about it. They just thought, well, we're just gonna go to have some fun and see how other people play. I never thought that I could win any nationals at the start, but the moment that you win that last shot, it's amazing.
The most dramatic achievement is quite recently the under-16 national champion title. 16s
was actually really surprising this year because I'm 3 years younger.
I was joking with her mom, how far she can go, right? Her mom's expectation is just a semifinal. If she can get in the semifinal, which means the top 4 in Canada, right? That's pretty good already. So she went to finals. We're like, yay, this is so interesting, right?
It was just super insane that I won U16 nationals, and it was a great experience.
Always make me or her mom laughing is this. Is it all over? I want to play more match. I'm like, are you crazy? You already win the title. What else do you want to play?
My dad is wonderful. He's been there my lows and highs, and no matter what I did, he would always be there. So I'm really grateful for him.
3 years. This little girl's coming. She's coming right here. You will see her playing in the adult game against the best in the country. I'm winning.
Weather specialist Helena Mahalik joining us now. Not too bad of a day for tennis if it weren't so windy.
Totally, Ethan. It would be a beautiful day for tennis, but yeah, your racket might get blown away. We saw wind gusts up to 70 kilometers an hour in some areas of the province. Let's take a look at just how windy it got in places in south and central Saskatchewan. Swift current in the southwest actually had the highest wind gusts, but by Wednesday evening, it's moved to the Regina area at around 70 kilometers an hour wind gusts. But despite any wind, it was a very hot day in the province, with many places getting above the 20-degree mark and many places in south and central getting to the 25-degree area. And it was very warm in the north as well. Even the far north got to about the 20-degree area, so pretty warm across all of the province. Wednesday evening, a very clear evening. There's a 30% chance of some showers in the far north, but otherwise no cloud coverage and a very clear evening. We're just seeing a little bit of clouds in the north Wednesday evening, but as we get into Thursday, we will see a bit of a 70% chance of some rain showers in the north there. Up to 10 millimeters of rain could be expected. As we get into Friday, we see some cloud coverage coming in and a chance of some rain in the southwest near the Kindersley area. As we get into the weekend, into Saturday, we're seeing some clouds coming in and most of the province is going to be feeling some of that cloud coverage. Wednesday evening, we are seeing those winds shifting to Regina at about 70 kilometers an hour, but most of the province is feeling that breeze. As we get into the evening, the Saskatoon area will be around 40 kilometers an hour, Weyburn 50 kilometers an hour. So much of the south is still going to feel that wind into the night, and it's not dying down Thursday. It's moving to the Saskatoon, Prince Albert central areas up to 70 kilometers an hour in some areas in and around Saskatoon. But the wind is dying down a little bit Friday evening. We will just see some winds in the southwest, but only up to 30 kilometers an hour, which is a break from what we've been seeing the past few days. Wednesday evening, we are seeing those temperatures rising up as a high pressure system rolls in, bringing the most of the heat Thursday with temperatures closer to the 30-degree mark. Temperatures will still be quite warm Friday, not quite as warm as Thursday, but we're still seeing temperatures really in those 20s and high 20 degrees. And then as we get into the weekend, the warm weather is definitely sticking with us, with temperatures again in the 20-degree area. So we're seeing high temperatures throughout most of the weekend, Ethan, making for a beautiful weekend.
Okay, but maybe some tighter fitting clothing with the wind once again then.
Totally. It's going to be warm, but can you really enjoy it with the wind? I'm not too sure.
That is true. All right, Helena, thank you.
Thank you, Ethan.
Well, no need to panic. Wednesday's emergency alert on TVs, radios, and phones was just a test. It's part of the twice-annual Alert Ready tests conducted nationwide. If you're in Saskatoon, you can expect a test of the Notify Now system on your phones Thursday at 10 a.m. Regina's Notify Now test, the first one, happened earlier this week. Stay with us. We're back after the break. The Saskatchewan Health Authority has confirmed 2 more cases of measles, the first at a grocery store in Priestville last Tuesday, and the other in the emergency room at Rosthern Hospital. Anyone who was there last Friday or Saturday is told to monitor for symptoms. That includes fever, cough, runny nose, red and watery eyes, and a red blotchy rash. If you have any of those symptoms, you're urged to call Healthline 811 and urged not to go to a clinic or hospital without calling first. The province has seen a dozen measles cases so far this year as of the end of April. And Helena is back with one last look at our forecast.
It's going to be a beautiful next few days in the province. Temperatures are going to be feeling very warm. Let's see just how hot it's going to get in Regina over the next few days. Thursday, temperatures will be climbing up to close to the 30-degree mark. And over the weekend, temperatures could also be hitting that 30-degree area despite a chance of some rain. We will see some cloud coverage rolling in throughout the next few days, and we will be seeing some rain possibly, which is good. The province is needing some moisture. As we are seeing that trend with the wind, a few more days of some wind conditions or a bit of a breeze. And overnight, we are seeing temperatures much above seasonal for this time of year. It's the same story in Saskatoon. A few days of sun, a few days of some cloud. Monday and Wednesday of the next week, we could see some rainfall coming in, but temperatures staying quite warm in those nice 20-degree range. We will see a few breezy days here and there. And again, temperatures are getting to above seasonal for overnight lows. So overall, it's a pretty beautiful week, Ethan, and we're definitely needing some rain in the province.
Yeah, we sure are. Okay, thank you, Helena.
Thanks, Ethan.
And before we leave you, we had some young up-and-coming journalists pay our studio a visit earlier Wednesday.
Come back tomorrow. I'm going to talk about Ontario. Peace.
This is the grade 6 class at Ethel Milliken School in Regina. They got a chance to tour our building and our news set, and they even got to try their hands at the weather too. The group also got to watch our noon radio show, Blue Sky, go to air and see our newsroom in action.
You're watching CBC Saskatchewan News.
Oh, better watch out for our jobs. That is it for us. For more news anytime, you can head to cbc.ca/Sask or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. You can also download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.